It started with small things. Things so subtle, so ordinary, that I almost convinced myself I was imagining them. A cabinet door left slightly ajar when I swore I had closed it. The TV remote moved just a few inches from where I left it. My shampoo bottle feeling a little lighter, as if someone had used it. At first, I blamed my own absent-mindedness. I was working long hours, exhausted, and probably just forgetting things. But then I started noticing more. My socks, pairs that I hadn't worn in weeks, mysteriously showing up in the laundry. A faint smell of cologne in the air, one that I didn't own. My fridge door left slightly open. Then came the night that changed everything. I woke up suddenly, my heart hammering in my chest, a sound, soft, almost imperceptible, like the shuffle of feet. I held my breath, listening, my ears straining against the silence. My apartment was small, a one-bedroom unit in a quiet complex. If someone else was inside, they were only a few feet away from me. The darkness pressed in around me as I slowly reached for my phone. My fingers trembled as I unlocked the screen, trying to be as quiet as possible. The time read 3:12 a.m. I opened the flashlight app, hesitated, then turned it on. The beam cut through the darkness, sweeping across my bedroom. Nothing. But the feeling wouldn't go away. I sat up, every nerve in my body on edge. My breathing was too loud, my pulse was deafening. Then, just as I was about to convince myself I was being paranoid, I heard it again. A creak. The sound of weight shifting from inside my closet. Ice filled my veins. My closet door was closed, but not all the way. There was a crack, just wide enough to see a sliver of darkness inside. My mind screamed at me to run, to get out. But my body was frozen in place. I stared at that sliver of darkness, waiting, dreading, terrified of what I might see. Then, the door moved. Just an inch, just enough to confirm that I was not alone. I barely suppressed a scream as I bolted out of bed, grabbing the lamp from my nightstand. I swung the closet door open in a frenzy, ready to defend myself, but there was no one there. Nothing but clothes, shoes, hangers, empty. I stepped back, my mind spinning. No, I wasn't crazy. I heard something. I saw something. Then my eyes landed on the vent at the back of my closet, a vent large enough for a person to fit through. My stomach twisted. I dropped to my knees and peered inside. The vent led to a dark, narrow crawl space, one that stretched further than I could see. The realization hit me like a freight train. Someone had been inside my closet. Someone had crawled away before I opened it. I shot to my feet, grabbed my phone, and called the police. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. The dispatcher kept me on the line as I rushed to my front door, unlocking it and stepping outside. I refused to look back into my apartment. The police arrived within minutes. They searched every inch of my place, found nothing until they removed the vent cover. What they discovered made my skin crawl. Inside the crawl space was a sleeping bag, a few water bottles, empty snack wrappers, a notebook. The officers flipped through the pages. My name was written at the top, my schedule, my routines, things I did in the privacy of my own home, what time I left for work, what time I came back, what I wore to bed, and then the last entry. It was dated just the night before. Tomorrow, 3 a.m., be ready. The officers exchanged looks. One of them asked if I had noticed anything strange. I told them everything, the little things, the missing items, the feeling of being watched. They checked the crawl space further, following it to where it led, the apartment next door, the one that had supposedly been vacant for months. They broke down the door and found him, a man, thin, pale, eyes wide with shock when the officers stormed in. He had been living there, slipping into my apartment through the walls, watching me through vents, sneaking in when I was asleep. And he had been waiting for me. They took him away, but I knew I could never stay there again. The idea that someone had been in my home, in my space, breathing the same air as me while I slept, made my skin crawl. I moved out the next day, but the fear didn't leave me, because now I know the truth. Sometimes the real monsters aren't the ones we see in our nightmares. They're the ones hiding in plain sight. But even after moving, I couldn't shake the paranoia. Every creak in my new apartment sent a shiver down my spine. I installed extra locks, security cameras, anything to make me feel safe. But the worst part was the nightmares. They didn't stop. Every night, I dreamt of him standing at the foot of my bed, watching, waiting. Sometimes I saw movement in the shadows, a flicker of something just out of sight. Other nights I heard whispers in my sleep, my own name spoken in the dark. The feeling of being watched never left me. Then a week after moving, I got a call from the police. They'd gone through his notebook more thoroughly, and they had found something else. Photos, hundreds of them, taken through vents, through cracks in my door, through the darkness of my own home. There were pictures of me sleeping, of me cooking, of me watching TV, oblivious to the camera lens peering through the smallest openings. One photo sent a chill down my spine. It was recent, taken in my new apartment. That wasn't possible. He was in custody. I told the officer it had to be a mistake. Maybe he had taken a photo of me before I moved. But then I saw the time stamp. It was dated 2 nights ago. Terror clawed at my throat. If he was behind bars, then who had taken that picture? The police launched an investigation, but they found no signs of forced entry, no hidden cameras, no sign that anyone had broken in. They tried to reassure me, told me I was safe, that it was likely a mistake, but I knew better. I started checking my vents again, my closet, under my bed. Every night I locked myself in my room, barricading the door. The fear was suffocating. I barely slept. And then last night I woke up again, 3:12 a.m., that same time. A sound, a soft shuffle, not inside my apartment, but inside the walls. I stared at the vent, my breath caught in my throat, and then just as I was about to reach for my phone, I saw it, an eye, peering at me from the darkness inside the vent. The real horror isn't what hides in our nightmares. It's what watches us when we think we're alone.